Hello crochet friends, welcome to Crazy Cool Crochet. If this is your first time, thank you so much for visiting. Be sure to look around. I've got a lot of really crazy cool crochet designs, patterns, tutorials. Today we're going to be making this easy crochet summer top. And the reason I'm sitting in front of you before I start the tutorial is I recently put out, actually my last video was the Crazy Cool Crochet fashion show, and it got rave reviews. Okay, alright, I'm exaggerating, but I'm going to leave a link right over here, a little white box that will take you to that video. And the reason I want to direct you to it is because before I started the actual fashion show, I gave a detailed account of where this channel is currently with YouTube. YouTube places a lot of importance on the amount of time that a viewer watches any particular video. Now, my videos run from like 18 to 30 minutes long typically, but viewers are only sticking around or only watching 1 to 3 minutes at the most. And for those of you who already heard this, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm repeating myself. But this is also for those who didn't see that fashion show video. And I still need to put the word out. So if you happen to like my tutorials, my videos, my designs, I've got really, really cool designs out there. If you appreciate that and you would like to support my efforts, and if you'd like me to keep going with this, remember, this is all free to you guys. Free. And I'm happy to do it. All I'm doing is asking, watch the video a little bit longer, okay? Even if you're not going to make this particular project right now or any of the other ones, if you're not going to work them right then, it would be so super helpful if you just took and let the video run a little bit longer, a lot longer, and then that would be a tremendous help. Right now, YouTube has stopped recommending my videos, basically, which is a very, very bad thing for me. Now back to this particular design here. So go ahead, watch the tutorial, watch it for a few minutes, and then if you want to come back some other time to work on it, awesome. Let's get moving. For this easy crochet summer top, which really is beginner friendly. If you're a crochet beginner, you should be able to handle this. This could even be your first crochet wearable. We are using, I love this cotton yarn. It is a number 4, but because it's cotton, it's really going to be very comfortable for summer. The color is curry, which of course is a yellow. We're using a G-hook, a 4.25 millimeter, scissors, and the yarn needle. So the directions for this crochet summer top are going to be for a size small. If you're experienced in crochet, you will be able to make size adjustments by using a multiple of 2 and starting with a foundation chain in an odd number. More detail will be found in the description area below. So you've got to open that up so you can see the rest of the detail in there. Also, you'll be able to go to crazycoolcrochet.com to get more detail and the written pattern. Now don't forget, watch the video all the way through. Even if you're not going to work this project right now, it will be extremely helpful to my channel if you watch the video all the way through. Okay, you'll be making 2 identical panels. And this is what the stitches look like. Each panel is 40 inches long, and for the size small, this fits me to my hips. The bottom will hit my hips, maybe the hip bones, maybe a little bit below. This will be folded in half, And then this will be the shoulder. So this is about 9 inches wide. And of course, you're going to have the second one over here, second panel. We're going to start with a foundation chain of 35. Again, this is for size small. Now, I do really easy slip knots. You just take the hook in front of the yarn, twist it all the way around. When you do your first chain, it locks it in, and there's your slip knot. Just do 35 chains. If you still need help with the beginning stitches, I will leave a little white box up above that you can click, and that will take you to the beginner tutorials where you can learn from the very beginning. Okay, now we are going to do 34 single crochets because you're going to skip the first one. We're going to start with the second chain from the hook. You do not count the chain on the hook. So there's the first, there's the second. Now we're going to work in the back loop. If you're an absolute beginner, you can go ahead and just start right here in the center of the chain as you normally would. If you're comfortable with doing it this way, we're going to go into that little loop in the back. And this creates a nice flat bottom so that we don't need a border. Single crochet. There's the chain, twist it toward you tiny little bit. We're going into those little bumps in the back. I'm working just a little bit slower than normal to help out beginners. So just do that all the way across, entering in each chain. When you get to the end of the row, you'll have the 34 single crochets, chain 1, and turn. Then we're going to do 2 more rows of single crochet, and you will start in this very first space. You're going under the 2 strands at the top. They form a little chain. So when you're doing your stitches, it forms a little chain at the top, and you're going under the 2 strands. So you're going into every space. Okay, when you get to the end of the row, don't forget that very last space. There's the 2 strand chain. And of course, if you're counting your stitches, this will be number 34. And then chain 1 and turn. You will do that chain 1 and turn at the end of every row. So now repeat that one more time, starting in that very first space. And again for 34 single crochets. At the end of that third row, chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to enter a single crochet in the first 2 spaces. Single crochet in the first space, single crochet in the next space, chain 2. Now skip the next 2 spaces, enter the hook in the next space for a single crochet, and then enter a single crochet in the next space, and then chain 2. skip 2 spaces, single crochet in the next, and single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, single crochet, chain 2. That's the pattern across the row. When you get to the last 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 2 as normal. You've already done your chain 2. Skip 2, single crochet in the next, and then single crochet in the last. There's that 2-strand chain. Chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to enter a single crochet in that first space, and then a single crochet in the next space. There's the chain. So you're entering it into the single crochet from below. Chain 2. Now enter into that next space, a single crochet, and then a single crochet into the next space, chain 2. So that's the pattern. Enter a single crochet into that next single crochet, another single crochet into the next single crochet, chain 2. Single crochet into the next single crochet into the next single crochet, chain 2. At the end of the row, you'll have your 2 single crochets at the end. So go ahead and enter your last 2 single crochets, chain 1 and turn, and then repeat that row again. Start in that first space, single crochet into the next single crochet, chain 2, and keep going across. At the end of that row, chain 1 and turn, and then repeat 1 more time. Okay, and there's your pattern. 3 rows of single crochet, and then 4 rows of the singles and the chains. Now before we move on, let me remind you to go ahead and leave me a thumbs up down below, comment, let me know what you think of this, let me know if you're planning to try it, and of course don't forget to subscribe. Right now we did the chain 1, now we're going to turn. Okay, now we're going to go back to our row of single crochets. So we're going to start with the first space, single crochet into that next single crochet. Now 2 single crochets go under that chain. And then single crochet in the next one, single crochet in the next single crochet, 2 single crochets under that 2 chains. So that's your pattern for the row. A single crochet in each single crochet, 2 single crochets under the chains. And this will bring you back to the 34 single crochets. Right at the end of that row, chain 1, turn. Now we're going to do 2 more rows of single crochets. Start in the first one, and then a single crochet in each space. So again, you've got your count of 34 single crochets. At the end of the 3rd row of single crochets, chain 1, turn, and then to start that next set of the single crochets in the chains, just a little refresher, single crochet in the first 2, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next 2, chain 2, skip 2, all the way across. So just go back to that portion of the video if you need more direction. We are going to be working for a total of 18 sets. So if we call the 3 rows of single crochet and the 4 rows of the singles and the chains, that's a set. So you'll do 18 sets. And you will end with a final 3 rows of single crochets. So that we started with the 3 rows and we're going to end with the 3 rows. This way, when we fold the panel in half, this is the front, this is the back, that's the shoulder. So now the bottom, front and back, will be the same with the 3 rows of the single crochets on the bottoms. So make 2 of these panels. The second panel will go over here. We'll seam up the center. That will create the V-neck. And then we'll seam the sides. And that will create the armhole. Okay, when you are done with your last 3 rows of the single crochet, do 2 chains at the end and then cut it off. Cut off the yarn. Leave about a 5-inch tail. And then pull it through. And then just squeeze down those chains, and that creates a nice tight knot. Now we're going to put the 2 panels together. And actually, before we move on, I just wanted to let you know a little hint. If you want to make the panel longer, be sure to throw this over your shoulder first and see if it's the right length. Match up the front and the back evenly. And if you want it to be longer, just go ahead and make another set of the 7 rows, and that will give you length. So depending on how long you want it, just keep adding sets at the top. And don't forget to end with 3 rows of single crochet. So if you do the 7 for an extra set, you're going to have to tack on another 3 rows of single crochet. So more accurately, you will have that much more added on to your length. Okay, now we are ready to seam the center. So what I've done is I'm using a couple of little stitch markers. It's just little strands of contrasting color yarn. And what you're going to do is find the center of the panel. That's what that is right there. That will be the shoulder. And then this opening here is the V-neck opening. Okay, so I'm not seaming that right there. That's just to show where the center is. When I go to seam, I'm only seaming down here. And then that will remain open. And that will be removed. That stitch marker. And this is wrong side facing up. Now, when you begin your panel, this is the tail from the foundation chain. So that was the right side. So you're going to flip that over so that you've got the wrong side facing up. Same with the second panel. Okay, so you decide how long, how deep you want your V-neck. If you want a longer opening, then adjust your stitch markers. And make sure that both panels are matching up. See how we've got this matched up here? So when you attach your stitch marker, make sure that you've got this even on both sides. And then you will repeat this for the other end of the panel. Okay, so however deep you want the back, they could be the same. That makes things so much easier. Then go ahead and do your measurement, however many inches you want that. Attach your stitch marker, and then you can get rid of that stitch marker in the center. You're only going to seam from the bottom up to your neck opening. All right, now you're going to use your yarn needle and a length of yarn. And a trick I learned to know how much yarn to cut off the skein is to take 3 times the length. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3. And then I always leave extra just in case. And we leave it open so that we're only seaming with 1 strand. And by that I mean we're not tying these 2 ends. Just leave it like that. Okay, so now remember you've got the wrong sides facing you. Attach the yarn needle into the cornermost stitch on both panels. Now you can, if you've got a tail from the panel, you can tie these together. That will help secure everything. Okay, now we're going to use a whip stitch. So this means we're going around, whipping around. I don't know if that's why it's called a whip stitch, but that's why what I'm assuming. Now, as we are seaming, keep the rows matched up. So keep looking to make sure that your rows are matched up. Now you want to go through 2 strands of yarn on both sides. Finish seaming until you get to the stitch marker, and then you can tie it off, knot it and tie it off. And one more little tip before we cut this off. So I stopped here and then I weaved the needle in and out several strands, just 1. You don't want to go through to the front. Just weave it in and out, in and out. And then make a knot down here so that the knot is not right at the opening. Okay, now for the side seams, you want to determine the armhole length. Now for myself, I went with a 7-inch opening, 7 inches long. So from the shoulder to the stitch marker is 7 inches. Go ahead and attach your stitch marker, and then you will seam from the bottom up to the stitch marker. And do the same for the other side. Okay, one last little tip and we will be done. So you want to weave in your tails, all the stragglers. There's a couple different ways. Well, I'm sure there's several different methods that you can use. If the tail is long enough, you can put it through the yarn needle and then weave it in and out several strands. Okay, weave it in and out like so. Bring it through. Come back on the other side. Do not go through the front. Just make sure you're staying on the back side. I just lost it. Go one more time on the opposite direction, and then you can cut it off. Okay, another way you can get rid of these tails is to use a hook. I usually use a smaller one that I've been working with, and then just weave it through as many times as you can, and then knot it, and then cut that remainder off. Okay, we are done. Now for this project, I am not doing any kind of a border anywhere. Once you've got this on, the edges actually look like little tiny scallops. It looks kind of cute. So there's no need for a border. I do hope you've enjoyed this project, and we will see you on the next project. Thank you so much.